The ITA addresses real or perceived conflict of interest between organizers and their anti-doping programs. Pooling expertise has become essential as a code, both increasingly complex and challenging for all international federations, with severe consequences for non-compliance. Today, I wish to acknowledge the remarkable progress we have made together. In early 2023, the ICF delegated the complete management of its anti-doping program to the ITA after an initial period of partial delegation in 2022. The decision speaks volumes about ICF's commitment to integrity and transparency and about its prioritization of a level playing field for all athletes. By entrusting this crucial work to the ITA, the ICF has demonstrated leadership and foresight, providing canoe athletes worldwide with a robust, independent system dedicated to clean sport. Our partnership is not merely operational, it's transformational. Since the full delegation, the ITA has implemented an intelligence-based testing strategy specifically tailored for canoeing. In 2024 alone, testing increased our shared goal of deterring doping and ensuring a fair competition. Enhanced detection approaches, such as the use of the endocrine and blood steroid modules of the athlete biological passports, alongside new data analysis tools, have ensured that our testing strategy remains precise and effective, safeguarding the sanctity of the sport for both current and future generations. Moreover, our long-term storage and reanalysis strategy reflects our unwavering commitment to clean sport. By preserving samples, we are able to revisit them as new technology emerges, limiting attempts to bypass testing measures. One of the most impactful developments since the full delegation has been the increase in intelligence and investigating activities. In 2024, we saw a tenfold rise in intelligence reports concerning potential doping activities with Canoe. Additionally, the number of investigative inquiries doubled compared to 2022. This surge in intelligence reporting and investigative efforts has resulted in the identification of 17 potential anti-doping violations and the resolution of 5 cases linked to the Moscow anti-doping laboratory information system. These numbers tell a powerful story. They are testament to the confidence the community places in the systems put in place by the ITA with the support of the ICF. They also highlight the productive role of individuals who, like us, are committed to the values of clean sport. And while these results underscore progress, they also highlight the ongoing need for our continued vigilance and investment. By exposing and addressing intentional and systematic doping, we are fostering a cleaner, fairer sport for all. Beyond testing and investigations, we are equally proud of our clean sport education initiatives. The ITA has been working with the ICF to implement the 2023-2026 ICF Clean Sport Education Plan, a comprehensive program dedicated to empowering athletes and their support teams with the knowledge needed to make the right choices. From dedicated webinars to on-site activities, we are reaching athletes and support personnel directly, helping them to understand their responsibilities and the values of fair play. None of this would be possible without the financial commitment of the ICF. Every step forward, the increased testing, the enhanced investigation work, the educational outreach requires investment. We understand that resources are finite, and we would like to respect the ICF's decision to allocate funds to the ITA-led anti-doping program. This investment is not just in the program, it's an investment in the future of Canoe itself. By supporting clean sport, the ICF is building a legacy of integrity, ensuring that every medal won, every record broken, and every achievement celebrated is the result of hard work, dedication, and fair play. The ICF investment also plays a vital role in maintaining global regulatory compliance. The ITA continues to monitor all anti-doping activities on behalf of the ICF, ensuring alignment with the World Anti-Doping Code and regulatory standards. Through this partnership, we have been able to assist the ICF in resolving certain corrective actions required by the World Anti-Doping Agency, the Global Anti-Doping Union. This proactive approach reflects our mutual dedication to not only protect the athletes of today, but to secure the reputation and future of Canoe on the world stage. As we look to the future, it's clear that this journey of clean sport is an ongoing commitment. These past 2 years of enhanced anti-doping efforts have set a new standard, and it is critical that we continue along this path while ensuring as well the financial sustainability of the program. On behalf of the International Testing Agency, I would like to thank the ICF and its leadership once again for its trust and commitment to clean sport. Together, we are not only protecting the present of Canoe, but also honoring its past and safeguarding its future, rather a worldwide future. To every athlete, official, and member of the Canoe family here today, thank you for your dedication to clean sport. Let us continue this journey together with integrity, transparency, and a shared vision for a future free from doping. Thank you, and I wish you a beautiful anniversary celebration.
Thank you very much, Valerie, for this impressive record of work of ITA, and we all know
dear President, distinguished colleagues, honored guests, and friends in the paddling community. It is a true honor to join you today as we celebrate a remarkable milestone, the centenary of the International Canoe Federation. Reaching 100 years reflect the resilience, commitment, and dedication of everyone involved in this great organization. Congratulations to all, especially to President Thomas Konieczny for his leadership and mission. This celebration gives us a unique opportunity to reflect on our shared roots. The International Dragon Boat Federation, like the ICF, is built on values that define paddle sports: passion, respect for nature, and the drive to push our limits. There is a special connection between our federation. My two predecessors and I all have roots in canoeing, creating a bridge of understanding that unite us. I myself began as a kayaker, and I had the privilege of coaching Italian Olympic champions, Daniele Scarpa, an experience that has deeply shaped my path in public sports. The IDBF, founded in 1991 in Hong Kong, has successfully shared this ancient sport from China with the world and grown into a global phenomenon. With recognition as the world governing body for dragon boat racing from GAISF, the Global Association of International Sport Federation in 2007, now Sport Accord, a recognition reaffirmed by the CAS, the Court of Arbitration of Sport, the same year, and as a member of the Alliance of Independent Recognized Members of Sport, the AIMS, we stand as a foundation for dragon boating, preserving its history while advancing modern aspiration. In September, we welcomed 7,000 athletes at the IDBF Club Canoe World Championship in Italy, with 500 races held over 6 days, showcasing the depth of participation and enthusiasm that define our sport. Just last year, we hosted the Super World Nation Championship in Thailand, celebrating our international sport and our international spirit and commitment to excellence. Our global footprint continues to expand as more people discover the camaraderie and the joy the dragon boat racing brings. Last month, we hosted our 4th World Cup, impressively broadcasted on CCTV, reaching an audience of millions. This visibility strengthens our presence and draws even more enthusiasts to dragon boat racing. The IDBF structure, with dedicated volunteers serving in the Council, in the Continental Federation, and around 90 national federations, reflects our global reach and unity. Our network includes nearly 600 international qualified race officials, IROs, who exemplify the professionalism and dedication we strive for in all our events. Our journey has not been without challenges. The interaction between IDBF and ICF highlights the complexities of promoting distinct yet related paddling sports. The situation has been confusing for many of our members and paddlers who often ask why. We in the IDBF understand the ICF interest in dragon boating. Its accessibility represents a fantastic way to bring people into canoe clubs and promote a federation's other paddling disciplines. And as we discussed it in the Congress yesterday, the ICF decided to change its name in Paddle Worldwide from 2026. The IDF today sees all this as a positive development. These goals are not in competition with the IDF missions, but are complementary to our objective of growing the sport. Imagine what we can do, accomplish by working together. I'm confident that our partners, the true heart of both federations, seek resolution, unity, and shared path forward. Our athletes recognize the affinity between our sports, founded on a shared love for the water and the spirit of competition. Let's take first step forward, not just words, but actions. At the World Games, maybe not the 2025 President Ferrorina, let's allocate some wildcard spot for IDF members who have not qualified to the ICF selection process. Maybe for the future we can make the process together. And let's involve the IDF in organizing the event, working side by side with the ICF in a multi-sport setting, just as I stand with you here today. Let's demonstrate to the world our goodwill to serve our partners, not to gain more power. Looking forward, I envision a family of paddle sports with our own identity and our own home. Like a child that is grown, that has his own family, his own son, his own house. Let's look in this way. Like a family, dragon boating has grown independent since 1991, yet it remains united with ICF, bound by solidarity and mutual respect. We look at ICF as the head of our paddle sport fund, aspiring to our participation in multi-sport games, as and one day at the Olympics. Together, we can build a legacy where each international federation contributes its unique value, strengthening our community as a whole. Congratulations once again on this remarkable centenary milestone and on hosting such an highly professional congress. I look forward to our continued journey together in the world of paddle sport. Let's be friends, let's be together, and let's look at the interest of our paddlers in a great family that meets in the important moment and works together to build a better world of sport. Thank you very much for your hospitality.
So, never enemies, but opponents. Then we became partners, now we become friends, and great, that's what sport can achieve. And another friend is here, presenting another exciting sport, water sports. I kindly invite Danilo, President of World Rafting Federation, to give a speech here. Danilo, where are you? Ah, okay.
Merci, mon cher président. Merci, board et toute l'équipe de l'International Canoe Federation pour cette opportunité que vous offrez au rafting de parler à ce public. Bref, depuis 2018, se sont passées pas mal d'années et la World Rafting Federation a grandi beaucoup, toujours suivant les conseils que depuis le départ, l'ICF nous a donnés. Tout d'abord avec Monsieur le Président Paci Peruregna et après avec Thomas. Pour nous, c'est un exemple à suivre. On est de la même famille, la famille de l'eau vive. On n'est pas des adversaires, mais on veut être une opportunité pour le canoë. On a travaillé très fort, comme je vous disais, suivant votre exemple, et petit à petit, on a réussi à rejoindre des importants résultats. En ce moment, on a dépassé les 60 nations. À nos derniers championnats du monde l'année dernière, on avait plus de 500 athlètes. Là, je reviens hier des Panaméricains où on avait 320 athlètes en représentance de 10 nations américaines. Bref, le mouvement grandit et, comme je vous disais, grandit toujours en tenant compte de notre papa, notre maman, que c'est l'ICF. On regarde toujours à vous, on fait de vous l'exemple à suivre parce que les grands succès du canoë, on les a vus tous. Et là, je vous fais encore une fois mes compliments parce qu'aux Jeux olympiques, je suis sûrement de part, mais un des top sports, c'était le canoë. Tout le monde a pu apprécier ce merveilleux mouvement en ce moment historique pour le sport, car les Jeux olympiques sont le rêve pour tout le monde. Bref, comme je vous disais, nous, on vous suit. On essaye, comme je disais, d'être une opportunité. On veut être une opportunité, car le canoë, c'est le haut niveau. Nous, on peut atteindre le grand public, parce que, comme tout le monde le sait, on est dans le rafting, il y a le business. C'est très facile pour nous de rentrer dans les écoles, et au moment qu'on peut mettre des jeunes à l'eau dans le sport, c'est un succès. Et je crois que parmi les grands numéros que nous on peut pêcher des futurs athlètes pour le canoë. C'est un sport facile parce que c'est le bateau et les gamins, ils aiment l'eau tout d'abord et les sports d'équipe. Mais comme je vous disais, on a un bassin où on peut vraiment, avec des opérations liées, ressortir des futurs champions. Mais en tout cas, au moment qu'un sport enlève de la route des gamins et leur donne un futur sportif, on a déjà gagné. Dans ces années, à part les résultats sportifs, on a aussi travaillé beaucoup, toujours suivant votre exemple, dans le soutien de la nature, de la sauvegarde de la nature. On a des gros projets pour sauver des rivières, pour essayer de sauver des rivières. Et parmi ça, on a même gagné le Peace and Sport à Monte Carlo avec un projet à propos de la sauvegarde. Bref, comme je vous disais, on a une opportunité aussi en organisant des compétitions, tout le monde ensemble, canoë et rafting, où le grand public, les administrations, ils peuvent avoir une encore meilleure vision des sports d'eau vive. Bref, comme je vous disais, c'est un grand plaisir d'être ici. Je suis heureux, vraiment heureux de pouvoir représenter notre sport dans cette famille, car c'est la grande famille des sports d'eau vive. Le futur, ça va être toujours meilleur, même si toujours plus difficile. Ça, c'est la vie de tous les jours et tout le monde, il le voit. Mais parmi le sport, on peut donner un sourire, un espoir à tous les jeunes. Président, mes compliments encore pour ton grand travail et de ton équipe. Et qu'est-ce que je vous souhaite une merveilleuse fin de congrès et happy birthday canoeing.
Thank you, Danielo. I think our cooperation based on mutual trust, mutual values, which we are sharing, is a role model how we can together unite our strengths and promoting our sport. And you know better, as everyone else with your organization, how you can promote rafting. We have the political networks, and that's together help us really to promote rafting as a part of our big canoeing family. Let's continue, work together, and congratulations, by the way, because you had also a dispute with another rafting organization.
But I try to put together now.
That you solved that, and that you Claudio has shown a way how we can cooperate better in future. So congratulations for this success
future
and
goal.
achievements.
Thank you again. Have a nice Congress.
So after the emotional start of our Congress, we are going back to the hard work, and we have to now doing the roll call again. Richard, explanation.
It's okay. I think we're okay. I think everyone's doing it. If there's any issues, if you can't log in for whatever reason, please raise your hand, and one of our team will come and help you. If anyone's having any trouble, also make sure that your proxy is clicked. Italy, are you having troubles? I know Italy's here.
Russia?
Vietnam?
Italy? Did India arrive? Russia, you are here? No. Ah, okay.
Joel, can someone come and help Joel? Michelle, maybe you can... I don't think... Okay, if you're in the room and you're not in blue on the screen, you need to raise your hand so someone can come and help you. Can someone come and help Joel on the stage here? And Italy. It's clear.
Russia,
Armenia,
over there.
Russia,
Uganda isn't here.
Uganda.
STP is south.
South Tombe
this
is-
is, Uganda is a proxy. You have also to register proxies if you have the right to carry a proxy.
Guatemala is present, but is not coming from.
Yeah, Guatemala. Okay. So we are here not in a hurry. We have to fix this problem first to have a clear picture about the participating federations.
Okay, so we have 88 votes present in the room, so we can move forward. Next on our agenda is the Athletes Committee. Maybe you want to do it. So Bridget, I welcome you to the stage. Thank you.
Dear delegates, Mr. President, board members, and guests, I'd firstly like to start by thanking all of you for your support towards your athletes as they showcase our sport as the heroes, the dreamers, and the novices who eventually become the heroes. Since the ICF Congress in Thailand, the Athletes Commission has made significant progress towards supporting and empowering athletes across various disciplines in our sport, and we are pleased to highlight the achievements and ongoing efforts of the Commission in ensuring the well-being and representation of athletes. The Athletes' Bill of Rights. This was one of our key accomplishments, which was really successful, as the adoption of the Athletes' Bill of Rights, which happened in Thailand at the previous Congress. This important document outlines the fundamental rights of athletes, ensuring that they are treated fairly, given equal opportunities, and supported in their personal and professional development. It also emphasizes the need for athlete welfare and access to necessary resources for career longevity and transition. Ahead of the Flatwater Marathon World Championships in 2023 in Denmark, we worked really closely with the Marathon Committee to highlight the stories and achievements of key paddlers. This initiative aimed to increase visibility and inspire the canoeing community by sharing the remarkable accomplishments of these athletes, showcasing their journey and building excitement for the upcoming event. We also hope to work with other disciplines in the future in a similar way. Members of our commission also attended the International Forum in Lausanne, Switzerland, which provided a unique opportunity to visit the IOC headquarters. During the visit, we also engaged with Athlete 365, which is an IOC initiative that offers a wide range of programs to help athletes transition from their sport careers. These programs offer essential life skills such as writing CVs, managing mental health, and also receiving mentorship from past Olympians. The opportunity to network with the organization will prove invaluable as we encourage you to guide your athletes into these platforms. We have also partnered with the RTA, which ensures independence and further professionalism of the sports and anti-doping programs, as we heard earlier in Valerie's presentation. The global community has also faced many challenges, particularly with the ongoing conflict of the Ukraine. The Commission was actively involved in meetings with the ICF and our President to help and assist some of the Ukrainian athletes, with numerous countries and clubs stepping up to provide support. This assistance enabled these athletes opportunity to continue training and competing in the difficult circumstances, ensuring them to remain a vital part of the international canoeing community. Looking forward, we have many dreams and goals to further and amplify the voices of the athletes within our sport. One of our key initiatives is to create an event specifically for athletes and members of the ICF member nations. This event would hopefully serve to invite the athletes to network and share ideas and collaborate on strategies to improve the sport, ensuring that it grows stronger and have more inclusivity with the athletes' input going forward. I'd also like to encourage all the federations here, as well as the different ICF disciplines, to nominate an athlete representative when the time comes for the elections of a new commission. We'd also like to work closely with the ICF. Going forward, we will have a dedicated staff member to support our commission, which will also help drive the athletes and entourage engagement. The Athletes Commission remains dedicated to supporting and advocating for our athletes. We are excited about the progress, and we look forward to realizing our future goals. We believe that through continued collaboration and implementation of meaningful programs, we can create a more equitable, supportive, and thriving environment for all the athletes, working towards paddle worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. Everything what we are we doing for our athletes to provide them the stage to live their dreams, to protect our athletes, and it's important that athletes have a voice in our community and in our organization, and with Bridget, they have really a strong voice, and you proved that with your presentation right now. Any questions to Bridget? We have another athlete representative here somewhere.
Yes,
Eli, where are you? Ah, okay. No questions. Then let's move on with Jane, our medical chair, appointed by the board after the Congress in Thailand, and we are happy to have you now here. Jane, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President, Secretary General, delegates. It's been a time of change over the last couple of years for the Medical Committee, not least because, sadly, due to pressures of work at the various hospitals in which they're involved, 3 of our members had to demit from the committee, which left Chris and I managing the workload, but we still managed to get quite a few things done, and I'll run you through those in a bit. I was made interim chair of the medical committee in April after Tim sadly had to step down, and I'd like to thank Tim for the work that he did in the time that he was chair. So, as we've heard from Valerie, the ITA very, very luckily and very thoughtfully took over the anti-doping section of our work, and this enabled us to concentrate on some of the other functions that we can provide for the athletes, for the different technical committees, and for the board. So we've tried to start focusing on providing evidence-based medical advice to the ICF and its technical committees, and to start to develop some of the policies and guidance that's relevant to the technical committees. So over the last couple of years, we've still managed to achieve quite a lot in personal visits, such as attending ICF competitions, World Championships, liaising with the Paris 24 medical teams for canoe slalom, kayak cross, and canoe sprint. And then I was able to attend the Olympics and liaise closely with the medical team on site to make sure that things ran smoothly. And it was a fantastic team, and thanks to Cyril and his team for that event. Also attended IOC conferences, particularly the ASWAF Medical Conference and the IPC Conference. And we've developed policies and protocols. So the projects that I'm going to talk about today very briefly are the transgender policy, head injury, extreme heat, and a new project that we're going to hopefully get going in collaboration with the technical committees. But not to forget COVID, because at the end of 2022, it was still very much in our minds. But thankfully, although we wrote new protocols for the 2023 season, we didn't need to use those. However, it was a good learning lesson for us, and I think what we established will be a good basis should we have another airborne infection pandemic. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on the transgender policy because I know from the emails that I've had that there are federations who wish to get some guidance regarding this. It was just over a year ago that the board asked us to set up a working group, and we did this with interested parties. As you can see, myself as chair and Chris Norbury from the States, Michael Kassel from Germany, and Henny Tantono from Indonesia. It's really important in this kind of topic to have the athlete voice, and so we're very pleased that Ailey Gibson could join us. She works very, very in depth in diversity and inclusivity, so she was able to wear her two hats on the board. Thank you greatly to Cecilia, who provided us with a lot of guidance, not least with her hat on as a lawyer and working between us and the board. As you can imagine, developing a transgender policy is very difficult. It's a very emotive subject. You only need to read the media and social media to realize just how divisive it can be. So we started off with the IOC pillars of fairness and inclusivity as our main focus. Fairness for cisgender women, that's those women who are XX in chromosomes and who identify as women. And also for the transgender athletes who, like everybody, wish to take part in sport, compete in sport, and be the best they can. Inclusivity, because we want to allow, if we can, transgender sports people to share our wonderful sports where possible. In order to achieve our goals, we had multiple online and in-person meetings. We analysed the current research, not just on any evidence for transgender athletes, but on the effect of gender-affirming hormotherapy on the athletic performance of athletes. We looked at what published research there was on what makes an elite sports person, their morphological, biological characteristics. We looked at the socio-economic and cultural differences that exist for transgender athletes. And we analysed all the existing IF guidance documents, not only their documents, their policies, but also the reaction and the legal reactions to their implementation. Of course, we discussed with transgender activists and advocates and sports scientists who are deeply immersed and experts in this area. So we provided a first report to the board, and they sent that back, and we revised this. And our recommendations have been sent to the board, and from there, they will need to go through a huge process of legal review, ethical review, understanding how we might implement these, the regulations, policies. So whilst I would love to share with you the details today, I'm afraid that it is far from set. I'm happy to answer questions, but I won't be able to discuss details because they're not set in stone yet. And I realise that federations are waiting for this. A little bit about the head injury protocol. With the increasing understanding of the effect of even minor blows to the head on the young brain, it's become very important for us to have our own head injury protocol, concussion protocol. And with the advent of kayak cross, we have seen blows to the head and blows to the neck that might result in head injury. So we did require a protocol to be written for Paris 24, and thank you greatly to Jean-Michel and Thomas Rosset with their great help in writing that. It enabled us to work very closely with Paris and ensure that we had the right processes in place should an event occur, which thankfully it didn't. But that head injury protocol will be submitted to the technical committees. We tried to write now a protocol that would be applicable over all disciplines, although I realise for some there is very little chance of a head injury. In 2023, with my ECHA hat on, I had a request from the Marathon Committee for some guidance on heat-related illness, because they'd had a couple of episodes in 2022 that they were concerned about. And with the climate change and increasing heat for events in the summer, particularly for endurance events, anything over 15-20 minutes, or events held in very high humidities, it is an increasing concern. And indeed, not on the athlete side, but on the spectator side at Paris, the medical team informed me that several people were indeed taken to hospital for heat-related illness. So I prepared a guidance document for that, and this has also gone to the board, and we'll need to refine that and pass it around the technical committees. A project that's very new and in its infancy is guidance for medical services at ICF competitions. At present, across all the disciplines, we don't have anything published that would enable host organising committee medical officers to plan and budget for their medical services. And I think it's really important that we work with the technical committees to ensure that we do have safety and health of the athletes at the top of our minds at these big competitions. So the next 4 years, well, hopefully we'll have a new committee and we'll be able to finalise those projects underway, and then we'll be able to respond to requests from the technical committees, the board, the athletes. I would really encourage the technical committees or any national federations who have queries, who have medical concerns that they would like our advice on, to contact, because hopefully we'll be able to provide you with evidence-based advice regarding that. So I'm looking forward very much to the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks for the time you have invested in your new position, and you created with your leadership a strong group of medical experts, and I really have the feeling that we have now a strong medical commission in place, and this is your success. Any questions to Jane regarding her presentation? That's not the case, then move on with our continents. And let's start with Africa. I hesitated a little bit during introduction. I want to say my favorite continent, but then I thought, no, you will lose votes this afternoon if you are saying that. At least the continent where we spend most of our efforts and time to develop canoeing.
Oh. Okay, thank you, Thomas. Moi, je vais parler en français. Prenez votre écouteur. bonjour à toutes et à tous. Bon, je pense que, comme tout le monde a déjà reçu les rapports, je serai très bref. Je suis effectivement honoré d'être ici. C'est bon? Je suis effectivement honoré d'être ici pour vous présenter les accomplissements récents du projet de la Confédération pour les canoës à l'avenir en Afrique. Tout d'abord, je voulais vous dire qu'au niveau de l'Afrique, on a organisé des compétitions régulières et aussi nous sommes en train de travailler dans les plans d'avoir plus de compétitions au niveau du continent. Nous avons organisé des compétitions au Nigeria, comme la Coupe d'Afrique, les championnats africains de canoë sprint, une compétition qualificative pour les Jeux Olympiques Paris 2024. Toutes ces compétitions représentent effectivement une avance significative au niveau des projets que nous avons pour le continent. Nous avons aussi également organisé et participé aux Jeux continentaux. Nous avons beaucoup de jeux. La Canoe organise les Jeux de plage, les Jeux africains de la jeunesse, les Jeux africains, et aussi nous sommes en train d'organiser l'année prochaine les Jeux pour le sport scolaire. Et nous avons participé aux Jeux africains de plage en Tunisie, et aussi on a organisé les championnats africains de canoë polo en Afrique du Sud. Et nous avons aussi organisé un événement de qualification olympique à La Réunion pour le slalom. Pour les Jeux olympiques, nous avons, pour les Paris 2024, nous avons participé avec beaucoup des athlètes. Et c'est pour ça que nous pensons que la performance africaine est en train de monter. Et l'exemple, c'est qu'on a gagné la première médaille paralympique, la médaille d'or pour l'Afrique. Ces réussites sont les fruits d'un développement à long terme de nos fédérations, coachs et des athlètes, surtout par des camps d'entraînement qu'on organise en Afrique avec l'appui de l'ICF et aussi du CIO. Ces préparations renforcées nous a permis d'atteindre de hauts niveaux et de la performance. Nous avons aussi, au niveau continental, nous avons organisé des courses pour les ITO et nous sommes en train de travailler pour consolider et travailler pour augmenter l'expertise technique régionale. Sur les plans de développement, nous avons intensifié les actions de formation avec des cours pour l'entraîneur de canoë sprint et de slalom, notamment au Nigeria, à l'Angola et à Djibouti. La formation des coachs, c'est quelque chose de très important pour nous parce que ça représente une action de fort impact au long terme qui va permettre de transmettre des compétences aux générations futures des athlètes et assurer une excellence durable dans nos compétitions. En termes de stratégie, pour l'avenir, nous prévoyons d'élargir notre offre des compétitions avec des événements comme les premières kayak courses cross en Afrique du Sud, ainsi que des championnats africains de courses océaniques, la Coupe d'Afrique qu'on va l'année prochaine organiser à l'Angola, et aussi les compétitions de stand-up pédale qu'on pense organiser l'année prochaine en Tunisie. Les Jeux africains de la Genèse, les Jeux africains de la Genèse prévus à l'Angola l'année prochaine, afin d'engager et développer les jeunes talents. Pour nous, il est très important de chercher des jeunes talents, et avec un travail commun, notre confédération et l'association des comités olympiques en Afrique, nous sommes en train d'essayer de voir comment développer des centres d'entraînement au niveau du continent. Parce que pour nous, il est très important que les athlètes africains restent au niveau des continents. Nous pensons aussi organiser des courses pour les coachs multilingues pour augmenter les compétences techniques dans chaque région, dans notre région, dans chaque région. Parce que nous pensons organiser des courses pour les pays lusophones, qu'on va organiser au mois de décembre déjà à l'Angola, avec l'appui de la solidarité olympique. Les mêmes choses on va faire dans d'autres pays, pour les pays francophones, aussi pour les pays anglophones. Et pour conclure, la Confédération africaine a pour ambition d'élargir effectivement des compétitions à travers l'Afrique, renforcer l'expertise technique régionale, et d'établir des partenariats solides avec les fédérations nationales pour assurer une croissance durable. Parce que pour nous, nous pensons que les fédérations nationales sont plus importantes, mais il faut investir plus aux athlètes. Je vous remercie. Thank you, gracias. Et je suis disponible pour votre question si vous avez. Merci.
Thank you, Joao. On the beginning of the Congress, I mentioned some politicians among us, but also in the Olympic movement, we have stakeholders which are really high-ranked, and Joao is a good example. He is first vice president of the African Olympic Committee, and since a couple of days, he is vice president of the Association of Olympic Sports in Africa. So you are a great stakeholder. And in all your positions, never forget your main mission to promote canoeing. And now I call the representative of those continents where I spent most of my time, definitely during the last weeks, and could realize how fast this continent is growing under the leadership of the new elected president, Admiral China Rong. Congratulations for all your achievements, which you will now present. China Rong, floor is yours.
Thank you, President. Dear delegate, on behalf of ACC, I would like to share some key events we organized with the ICF in 2024. Firstly, I would like to thank the ICF for supporting our development camps in Asia. This year, we held 2 TAP camps for canoeing. We start with Canoe Slalom TAP camp in Thailand, where 16 countries joined, including new countries like Cambodia, Mongolia, Myanmar, and Nepal. This is a case sign for the future talent on the world stage. Next, we had the Canoe Spin TAP camp, where 16 countries and over 40 participants took place. I would like to thank Mongolia and Sri Lanka for joining us as a newcomer in this discipline. We appreciate every national federation for your participation. This year, we also host the major canoe spin event in Tokyo at the same venue as 2020 Olympics. In partnership with ICF, we organize other major events in Samarkand, Uzbekistan, Canoe Spin World Championship, and Canoe Polo World Championship in China. And just a day ago, we had the World Championship of Knuckleboard in Philippines. Look ahead to 2025. Promote canoe spin and canoe slalom at the major region competition, including Southeast Asia Games in Thailand. Continue the ICF TIP camp for long-term development of Asia paddler. Organize annual canoe competition for all ICF disciplines. Increase the number of canoe slalom events to at least twice a year. And promote knuckleboard in every region of Asia. Now I have the short video from the TIP camp. Thank you everyone for your support.
Thank you. As I said, under your leadership, your continent has made really great progress in development of our sport, and the results can be proved that. I remember that a lot of Asian countries qualified for World Games in Truck and Boat last week in Puerto Rico. Among them, there are countries which never been before in the international canoe stage, like Myanmar, Cambodia. So they qualified for first time for a multi-sport event. So this is a result of the great work you and your team did and hopefully will do. Thank you, Shainarong. Any questions to Asia? Then I kindly ask John to present a report.
Dear President, dear board member, dear friends, since last ICF Congress, the ECA organized its own Congress in Greece on 2023, and we saw the election of a new board member, new president, and it has also been an opportunity to pay tribute to Albert Wood for his commitment during 30 years as president of the ECA. And I wanted to thank you, Albert, because we are working now on the basis of your legacy. Since then, we set up working groups, and we received 95 applications coming from 20 countries, which shows how our federation, our national federation, are interested in this project. To review our statutes and to build our strategic plan and our sport program. The result of this work will be presented tomorrow at our Extraordinary Congress, and it will be an historical moment for the ECA to adopt new statute and a new strategic plan. In addition, the ECA office has been structured and organized with the recruitment of employees for administrative tasks, sports and events, and communication and partnerships. We also provided IT tools. We have also set up a sport commission to bring together all the committees of all our disciplines. The functioning of the ECA includes a large number of meetings, more than 30, since the last Congress. Regarding the development, we participate, of course, to the ICF TIP program, but we also implement some training camp in slalom in North Macedonia, in wild water in Switzerland. And I take the opportunity to thank André, Jelenk, and Manuela for their commitment in the organization of this training camp. The ECA, it's also a lot of competition, lot of events, and of course it's not possible to name them all today. But I want to just highlight the major event, and I think particularly to the European Games organized in Poland, in slalom and sprint, and also the combined championship we organized in Szeged with sprint, per canoe, stand-up paddle, and Special Olympic events. And I take the opportunity of this report to thank all our national federations for their commitment in the organization of these events. It was also for Europe the organization of the Olympic Games Paris 2024. Innovating games with the opening ceremony on the Seine, with the competitions on historic venues. For canoeing, all the events for sprint, slalom, carcross were organized on the same venue. And for the first time, we organized kayak cross event, and it was a real success. The French Federation has also able to inaugurate its new headquarters, where many celebrations were organized with ICF and ECA. And finally, this gain allowed us to promote canoeing with the visit of a lot of dignitaries, presidents, prime ministers, minister of sport. In conclusion, as you can see, the functioning of the ECA has evolved. Reflection has been conducted on its governance, on its statute, its economic model, its strategic plan. These elements will be presented tomorrow. Finally, I cannot end this report without expressing my concern about the geopolitical situation in Europe and expressing my hope that we will find a diplomatic way to restore peace in Europe. Until then, sport will continue to be a link and must be continued to be a link between our people. Thank you.
Thank you especially for your last call and for the message that despite all the difficulties and challenges in political environment, sport has the task to unite and to keep our community together. And congratulations, John, for renewing your Continental Association within 1 year. Incredible job. And I wish you all the best that tomorrow then finally all your proposals will be adopted. So now there's one continent remaining, the smallest one, but it's the powerhouse of canoeing this year at least. I didn't count together how many medals you take away from Paris, but in relation to the size of your continent, let me say a lot. Congratulations to this success, and I will invite Marie to present the report from Oceania.
Good morning, everyone. It is indeed a privilege to share with you today a few brief highlights from Oceania. I think we all understand that each of the 5 continents has a unique history, culture, and geography that influences how we best support our paddling family around the world. So allow me to share with you some context about what makes Oceania unique. Oceania was literally founded via canoe thousands of years ago when paddlers travelled vast distances across the Pacific Ocean very bravely in huge outrigger and double-hulled canoes to settle our continent. Covering over 1/3 of the globe, Oceania is actually the largest continent, Thomas. And yet we have the smallest population, scattered across remote islands, many of which are actually fighting for their futures as sea levels rise due to a changing climate. There are only 17 NOCs in Oceania, and 14 of these recognise national canoeing federations. Unsurprisingly, given our name, the ocean is our greatest asset and still remains an incredible paddling opportunity for our NFs. But at the same time, the vast distances between our countries means participating even in regional as well as global paddling events is always going to be logistically and financially challenging for our nations. So, some of the recent development program highlights have included national federation projects undertaken locally in Samoa, Tahiti, Solomon Islands and Cook Islands. And while OCA is absolutely keen to foster and support the growth of all of our canoeing disciplines, in reality, the geography of our island nations and their lack of infrastructure means our development program has a strong local focus on introducing paddling through surf skis. Now, these smiling faces on the screen behind me are young paddlers from the tiny Cook Islands. They were introduced to paddling in Nello 510s, and then they transitioned into sprint boats in their local lagoon. And here you can see them pictured in New Zealand. They'd shown great progress at home, so they travelled to New Zealand's Sprint National Champs, where they really impressively won the under-14 girls category in K4. In February this year, OCA delivered a training camp that supported athletes and coaches from 7 developing NFs in conjunction with our Continental Canoe Sprint Championships in Australia. A big thank you to Paddle Australia for the huge support in coaching and provision of boats for that training camp. We were also delighted to hold a regional paracanoe classification course and workshop with attendees from Oceania and Australia. And John, a big thanks to you and your team for making that possible. The Pacific Games is an event of great regional significance held every 4 years, and in December 2023, paddlers from 6 of our developing nations competed in the inaugural kayak program. We ran that in conjunction with the VAR program, and I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the really excellent collaboration we have with the International VAR Federation in delivering that. When Oceania arrived in the beautiful French capital, our superb high-performance athletes determined to stamp their mark on Paris 2024. The incredible Fox sisters, alongside Finn Butcher, showcased Oceania's slalom strength, securing 4 of the 6 available gold Olympic medals. A week later, the New Zealand women's team, headlined by Lisa Carrington, reminded us that in Oceania, we're pretty good at canoe sprint too. We were incredibly proud of young Samoan siblings, Samalulu and Tava'a Clifton, competing in their first Olympic Games, and Rainier Tatingfong from Guam. And soon afterwards, we're celebrating the success of Paralympic champion Curtis McGrath. Not to forget the non-Olympic disciplines, during the last 2 years, Oceania nations have also won titles in ocean racing and canoe polo. So as we look ahead over the next couple of years, the following are going to be key areas of focus for OCA. Continuing to strengthen our relationships with the Pacific Games Council and Oceania NOCs to ensure the security of our program status in the Pacific and hopefully the mini Pacific Games as well. Introducing a continental ocean racing series as a priority, which is going to require us to really tackle the challenges around financing and moving about the boats that are required to do that effectively. Developing a regional ITO education program that is tailored specifically to holding events in small island nations. In closing, I would like to thank you for your attention and invite you all to come down under in October next year when we will be welcoming the global paddling family in Australia for the 2025 Canoe Slalom World Championships. I hope to meet with you all there.
Thank you, Marie. If we are talking about our roots, especially here, when we are celebrating 100 years, we are talking about Canada, Eskimos, America, Europe. Thank you for a reminder that 1,000 years ago, it was a common tool to move between islands, a canoe, and a very popular tool at this time. So our roots are as well in Oceania. So now we finished reports of our continents, and we can go in a break. See us again 10 to 11. Thank you.
foils in an ancient play, only an act away from hell to pay. You hate saving up for a rainy day. Me, I like to get the sun away. Oh, we don't match, fit, blend, mix, stick, click, we're incompatible. You don't say no, you don't incompatible. Say. You don't say no, you don't say. Like an iron fist and a velvet glove, an iron fist and a velvet glove. We are cut from a different cloth, cut from a different cloth. A big hand for us coexisting more.
So please take your seats. We already extended the break a little bit. So then let's continue. There are not so many positions in ICF where I'm really happy if the officer in this position has no work to do. But there's one position where we all are happy if he has nothing to do. This is our ethics commission, if we have no cases to deal with. And we are very happy that we have someone who's working in the back very hard, help us, advised us. And let me introduce our chair of our ethics commission, also well connected in the world of sport, member of the Pan Am Sports Board, Legal Commission, and some more functions. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. In addition to what the President just mentioned, I'm someone who has been in the sport of canoeing my whole life, and like everyone in this room, loves the sport of canoeing. And because I love the sport of canoeing, I know that there's something that the sport of canoeing needs. Something that the sport of canoeing needs is a code of ethics. The sport, we have a reference to a code of ethics in our statutes. But that code of ethics in our statutes only applies to our board. What the ICF needs, what we need, is a code of ethics that applies to our entire organization and everything we do. This is what you're being asked today to approve. It will add another necessary element to the good governance of the ICF. The IOC requires in its code of ethics that all international federations recognized by the IOC, obviously the ICF being one of them, adopt its own code of ethics. Often people say, well, why can't we just incorporate the IOC code of ethics, which is mentioned in our statutes? Number one, the IOC code of ethics only applies to matters involving relations between the IOC and the IFs. It does not apply to the internal governance of the federations. And that is why in the IOC code of ethics, there's a paragraph that says that it is expected that international federations will adopt their own code of ethics to deal with their own internal affairs. And that's what the code of ethics you're being asked to approve today does. There's nothing surprising in the code of ethics. No hidden catch that's going to catch you off guard. It applies across all of our activities. And all it asks, and I don't mean to oversimplify it, but all it asks is that the IOC, our officials, our athletes, ourselves and everything we do, simply do the right thing. It's based on the obvious concepts, accepted concepts of integrity and fair play, honesty in our dealings, and respect for human rights. With respect to its actual provisions, if you haven't had a chance to read it, if you've ever read the IOC Code of Ethics, our Code of Ethics mirrors it. It's machined and sculpted to fit into our circumstances, but all of the topic headings that you see there, except for a couple that are nuanced for our particular circumstances, are the same headings that you would see in the IOC Code of Ethics, dealing with dignity and integrity of conduct, no abuse, no harassment, no discrimination, no conflicts of interest. Officials expected to act impartially, objectively, in a professional manner. Integrity of competitions, no cheating, no competition manipulation, no doping, just what you would expect to be the case. Good governance and resources. If funds or something such as value in kind are received, well, if you receive funds for a particular purpose, you have to use those funds for that particular purpose. You can't divert without authorization a sum for another purpose. You've got to keep records. We want to make sure that if funds are received, if someone wants to ask a question, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any records of that. Got to keep records, so everything's above the board. In candidatures, no corruption, nothing under the table, no undisclosed promises of a benefit if this particular candidature is supported. Again, fairness, objectivity, impartiality. The confidentiality refers to the fact that if there is a report of an alleged breach of the code, then the matter is to be dealt with in a confidential way unless the board decides that's inappropriate in the given circumstances. And I can tell you an example of where that might be appropriate is when the victim, alleged victim, or person with respect to whom the breach is complained of goes public itself and makes, with their public statements, it impossible for our organization not to respond publicly. There's been cases that you may recall in other sports where that's in fact been what has happened. Attempts is simply a statement that if you attempt to do something that's unethical, but you fail in securing your end object, that doesn't get the individual off the hook. You're still liable to be pursued for a breach of the code of ethics, even though your attempt failed. Reporting obligation is simply provides that every one of us, if we become aware of an apparent breach of the code of ethics, it's our obligation to report it. And we report it to the Ethics Commission, who would then conduct an investigation and report to the board. This leads to the implementation, very similar, and in fact a mirror of the IOC structure. If a matter is reported under the Code of Ethics to the Ethics Commission, the Ethics Commission conducts an investigation and makes findings and draws conclusions. There was or was not a breach of the Code of Ethics. If the Ethics Commission determines that there wasn't a breach of the Code of Ethics, then of course the matter ends there and the parties are advised accordingly. If the Ethics Commission should decide that there was a breach of the Code of Ethics, then the matter is reported, that is reported to the board, and recommendations from the Ethics Commission are given to the board with respect to any sanction or penalty. It's then up to the board, and this is the way the IOC functions as well. Its Ethics Commission reports to its executive board. The executive board then, based on what it receives from the Ethics Commission, makes a determination with respect to the sanction that's to be imposed. That's what the board, in our case, would do in the event we should ever have a case that leads to that point. Of course, everyone will be afforded the protection of what are sometimes referred to as the rules of natural justice throughout. People will be given the right to be heard. They'll be advised of the particulars of the allegations against them, and they will be dealt with by a fair and impartial hearing panel. In the event that an individual should be sanctioned at the end of the entire process, but they disagree with either the finding that there was on their part a breach of the Code of Ethics, or they disagree with the sanction that's been imposed, they have the right to appeal to CAS. That's in the Code of Ethics. So, as with most disputes within the Olympic movement, in the event one wants to appeal with respect to the matter in question, your avenue is to appeal to CAS, Court of Arbitration for Sport in Lausanne. That's the Code of Ethics in very, very basic framework description. To give you comfort, it is a mirror of the IOC Code of Ethics. So we're effectively adopting for our own internal affairs a code that is virtually exactly the same as the code that applies to us when we're engaged in Olympic matters. So we're comfortable, I believe, with the code that applies to us in Olympic matters. I have to believe that we'd be comfortable with that same code, but sculpted for our purposes to apply to us for our own affairs. And that's what we're being what you're being asked, what we're being asked to accept today, that the Congress endorse and approve the proposed Code of Ethics, which has been distributed and which I very briefly, and I hope in a way that people were able to understand, explained to you this morning. So unless there are any questions, I think we're ready for the resolution.
Mike, thanks for your advice, support to work out such a sophisticated AT code. It's very important that we have a unified policy for all our stakeholders and a guideline for our behavior. And already in the board, we discussed that we want to advise our continents to adapt or to take over one-to-one this code of ethics. But before we can do this, you have opportunity to ask questions, and then we have to approve the code of ethics as a highest authority. Christian, please, mics.
Oops. Could you elaborate a bit on Article 11 around the betting?
Betting with respect to canoeing competitions similar to the Olympic Games is prohibited. And therefore, anyone associated with a canoeing competition is prohibited from engaging in betting with respect to that canoeing competition. Independent of all that, since it's becoming such an accepted practice throughout the world, if one wishes to engage in betting independent of your canoeing engagement, that's your business. But betting in relation to canoeing competitions is prohibited because of the temptation to improve your chances of winning the bet by either imposing something upon a competitor or otherwise attempting to manipulate the competition. And then there's the whole question of the illegal betting operators and their attempts to secure winnings and launder money through our sport, which we absolutely don't want.
So a legal betting company, it would be allowed for a canoe polo player to bet on the sprint competition if he's not associated in any way with the competition or the coach or in any other association?
If he's not engaged in that competition.
Thank you.
Okay.
More questions? Joao.
Oui, Mike. Je voulais savoir, parce que la famille du sport et la famille olympique, nous sommes une seule famille.
Joao, can you please wait a little bit until you have your headset ready?
I don't know why my headset is not functioning. Yeah, it's not turning on for some reason.
So no problem, I ask you in English, no problem.
No, he's ready. You
You
can
ready?
go ahead.
OK.
French.
En français.
Ma question, c'est simple, hein, parce que la famille du sport et la famille olympique, nous sommes une seule famille. Je pose la question, mais pourquoi avoir des différents codes? Parce que le CIO a déjà un code d'éthique. Pourquoi avoir des codes d'éthique pour les fédérations internationales, des codes d'éthique pour les autres organisations, si nous avons déjà un code qui peut être adapté pour tout le monde? Merci.
Thanks, Yao, and I may say Yao is one of my good friends from one of my other engagements in the Olympic world. The IOC ethics code actually asks that international federations adopt their own ethics code to deal with their own internal affairs. Because the IOC ethics code deals with the Olympics and with matters that arise in the engagement between an international federation and the IOC. It does not apply to the internal affairs of the international federations. So that's why we must adopt our own ethics code. But to make sure there's consistency, to your point, the IOC asks in its ethics code that when an international federation adopts its own ethics code, that it is consistent with the IOC ethics code, so we don't have different rules. So that's why the international federations, including the ICF, must adopt their own ethics code. For example, like if you read the IOC ethics code, you'll see everywhere all it talks about is the Olympic Games. It doesn't talk about the Canoeing World Championships. It doesn't talk about World Cups of canoeing. It just deals with Olympic Games. So if we adopt it, someone would say, that doesn't apply to me because it only applies to Olympic Games. So at the World Championships, I don't have to adhere to the code you've adopted by reference. To avoid that hole in the system, we're adopting our own ethics code that's going to apply to all of our events and all of our activities. And when we're at the Olympic Games, IOC ethics code. That's how the two work together. Like this. Okay? Two hands, but like this. Two ethics codes, but like this. Okay?
So you are satisfied with Mike's answer? Okay. More questions to Mike in regards to our ethic code? And it's not about having a code on paper, it's to embrace the content. And if we approved today, then please start to really embrace this content.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then let's move on to vote and resolution 13. I kindly ask you to approve the proposed code of ethics.
You can open the vote. Let's try and make sure we get to the full number of votes in the room, which is 84. 84, I think it was. Sorry, it's 88.
don't forget to use your proxy if you carry one. So we have 80 votes, 83. We have a total number of eligible votes here, 88. So we are still missing 5. Is there someone who has a problem with voting? Okay, then we can close the vote. Yeah.
Oh,
100%.
jeez.
Mike.
We have a righteous crowd. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's move on to topic 27 on our agenda, and I kindly ask Louis to present a report about his the working groups he's leading as responsible vice president.
Thank you, Thomas. Good morning again. I just try to be as quick as possible on this, but I know that that's creating lots of questions because we have been, Thomas and the board called for this group to analyze a potential new Olympic qualification system for Los Angeles, and that was nearly a year ago. So we create this group, and as you can see here, me and Richard, we are chairing the group, and the members are Marie Burnett, John Edwards, Toshi, Peter Caray, Charles, Jean-Michel, Giovanna, and Bridget. So what we were trying to have here is a little bit of representation from the disciplines and with technical knowledge. Also, in this group, we have the support from Balint and David from the office, and they are the ones that they are like doing all the administration tasks and especially the hard job of making that happening. So it's a teamwork, it's a team effort, and that's you should realize that that's the first time that the ICF is opening a process like this one. We never before had a process like that one for the Olympic qualification system, and obviously said that there are some challenges that we are facing, but also I think one of the main objectives was to be as transparent as possible on this process, because till now basically a qualification system was presented to the IF, to the national federations at one point in time from the IOC, and that was it. So now what we have been trying to do is to elaborate a system that helps everyone to understand better what we're trying to achieve. So some of the goals that you can see here clearly expand the number of competitions. If we are having a qualification system based in a ranking, we will need more competitions. That's one of the goals. If we increase the number of competitions, we understand that we will increase the participation. That's another one of the goals, increase participation on the path going to the Olympic Games, and also improve and enhance the continental activity. So that's another one of the key goals from this project. Why we want to change? Why we want to go to that in that direction? Well, mainly, I would say, aligned with Fit for Future. When we present Fit for Future 3 years ago, and today we will present the evolution version of this Fit for Future, we establish some sort of criteria where ICF need to work, and that's part of it. Create more events that help to build the path to the Olympics as a main competition. Also, support the Agenda 2020 plus 5. The Agenda 2020 plus 5, if you read it in detail, clearly says that the IOC want to focus on the Olympic Games, but also focus on the path to the Olympic Games. So the IOC clearly is sending a message, use the opportunity to have more competitions linked to the Olympic Games, to have more visibility. We all know that our key moment in our 4 years period, every 4 years period, are the Olympic Games. But if we can increase the visibility of our events, and you know, we've seen it, for example, when we have all these bids coming to the board of directors. Every year we have some bids coming, and you, as national federations, presenting bids to organize events. The bids for the events that qualify for the Olympic Games are the ones that has more attention. So why we don't have a larger number of events and create more interest from organizers? And also these organizers can benefit of it because they, for sure, will get more support from the governments to run these events. And the teams will get more support to attend these events because we'll be Olympic qualifiers. So that's part of it. And also, one of the key targets that the board and especially Thomas put on the table since the beginning was transparency. We want to have a process that is transparent. We don't want to have a process where at the end of the day you will find again 2.5 years before the Olympic Games a document that says how you qualify for the Olympic Games. So through that elements, we just decide a process. So as you can see here, we complete some steps and there are some missing. But basically, we divide the work in 2 blocks. Block number 1 was to define the ranking. Block number 2 will be to define how we allocate quotas. So that's the path. So block number 1, ranking. And here we had the chance that, or we were lucky because slalom already did it for many years. So the slalom committee and Jean-Michel especially brought all this information into the table. So we know exactly how deal with some potential issues because they already faced with those issues in slalom. So that was a good part of the work. So as you see, the step 1 was to define the objectives, as I explained it before. Step 2 was working on the group and have a wide consultation inside the group how we need to do all this work. And then the step 3, with the idea of creating the ranking, was to start these surveys that you received, national federations, with some key questions. And with these answers, we elaborate kind of the first concepts of how the ranking will work. That's where we are right now. And then the next steps for us will be, once this ranking is fixed, how we fix the ranking, the step number 2 will be how we allocate these quotas. So, and now we need to develop these rules. So you got a final survey a month ago or so. So we closed this survey, and after this Congress, we will start elaborating a proposal. Once the proposal will be writing, what we will do is to inform the national federations, absolutely. As I said, transparency was one of the key topics from the direction that we got from the board of directors and the president. So we will inform the national federations through the Continental Association. So we will see how we can do this process online, but inviting national federations and maybe some other stakeholders. And then once that's done, don't forget that the Olympic qualification system, it's owned by the IOC. It's not, it means we are building it, but the IOC finally owns the system. So once the board of directors will endorse the system, we will send it to the IOC for legal review, and then it will be when the IOC will publish. So that's the process. So what we want to be clear is that we are just following the process, and what we have been changing from the previous Olympic qualification system is the idea to get more involvement, or as much involvement as possible, from the national federations. Things that they are, I think, important that we bring into the table is that, as I said, this is the first time that we're doing a type of process like this one. So, yeah, it's a little bit, not challenging. on it, but it's like hard to deal with certain aspects of these discussions. And I know that there is a lot of discussions internally in the community right now, because seeing the surveys, everybody has been making his own ideas. We didn't, at the minute, we are on the process, so we didn't define nothing yet, and that's why we're presenting here where we are. So the next steps will be, or we will try to get it done, or we will try, let's say, we will try to have a first draft by March next year, and this is not a condition, this is our wish, and let's see if we can achieve this wish and present the draft to the board of directors, and with this draft at the board of directors, then we can go to the community, explain it, and then back to the board of directors for approval. That's our proposal, and that's how we're working right now, so open to answer some questions if they are.
So, thank you, Luis. Any questions? Hassan and Geyer.
Thank you, Luis, for nice presentation. I just only wanted to know who is the continental representative. For example, in Asia, we do not know who is responsible for the continental representative. I'm sure that you are going directly connected with the national federations. But if the national federation in the continents wants to collect the idea through the continental representative, we do not know who is in Asia. Can you specify this for me, please?
Yeah, well, the working group, it's the composition of the working group, you can see it here. We have been trying to find a balance between people from the board that can add value, also outside the board. As you can see, Peter Karai or Charles Lackman, that they are members of the Sprint Committee, they are also part of this discussion. When I was saying that we will involve the Continental Association, it's that when we will now have the final draft and before present it to the board for approval, we will, through the Continental Associations, organize these discussions or these, let's say, these presentations through the Continental Association. So really, we don't not talking about a representative, we're talking about the Continental Association on it, that we will ask to organize a call with all the nations. I don't know if that answered your question, Hassan.
Hassan, let me add a general remark. Respecting the autonomy of our continental federations, but we have to consider ourselves as one family, not putting individual interests in front. If we have 3 good experts which can help the whole sport in America, let's take those 3 experts to find the best results. Simply to fighting that each continent has in each working group 1 representatives is not sometimes good enough. We are trying to considering and showing with all what we're doing that we are a global sport, but even if we start our not governance review, organization review, maybe we should look where we can find the best experts and not that we can participate all continents. It's about results where all continents then can benefit from. Gaia.
Thank you. Short question. Step 5, you call it key shareholders. Who are they?
Well, that's what I was saying. Well, our idea is to talk to the continental associations, and they will define who they want to invite into these information meetings. So that's our idea, to use our partners in the board, our continental associations, and what we understand is that they will call the national federations, and let's see if the national federations want to invite some athletes or some coaches, but we need to limitate it in some way. So we need to have this discussion with the continents and define these stakeholders. But what we want really is that all the national federations are involved.
Thank you. Thank you.
No more questions? Then thanks, and we will keep you involved in the further process.
Yeah. Thank you, Thomas, and thank you for the hot potato, as our previous president was talking about.
Okay, do you want me to?
So, then, let's move on to topic 28, establishment of the strategic plan, and I hand over to our Secretary General. Richard, please.
Yeah, as discussed yesterday, we've clearly mentioned the key points. Maybe we can skip one slide. Yeah, we mentioned the key points, and I ran through these in my presentation, and also Thomas discussed about the organizational review yesterday. The strategic plan is, as we say, an evolution of our original plan, of our 8 key pillars that we established in the last Congress in Thailand. Here we advance it with these 5 key pillars that we discussed, and then with the view, as we agreed, to relaunch the Federation under the new name of Paddle Worldwide in 2026. I don't think I need to go into huge amounts of detail now, but if there are any specific questions, we're more than happy to answer them. If not, we can move simply to the adoption of the strategic plan by vote. Is there any questions in the room? No? Okay, must be clear plan. Good, we can all stick with that. Perfect, so we can move straight to the vote. So, do you agree with the adoption of the resolution? Essentially, do you agree with us delivering that strategic plan over the next 2 years? We can now open the vote. Thank you.
Again, don't forget to vote if you have a proxy a second time. 83. Does anyone have problems with voting system?
No, should be there. 85 now.
So again, we have 85. We can close the vote.
Okay.
Thank you for 80 votes in favor. The strategic plan is approved. Thank you. And now I think it's a good place to open the discussion a little bit up. This strategic plan covers all our activities, so we can now use the next couple of minutes for general remarks, comments, questions. Are there anyone who want to ask anything or present something? Javier.
Hi, Thomas. I would like to speak about 5Ks. Is possible? Is the moment now?
Yeah. This is the moment now to speak about everything, only what is related to canoeing.
Okay. Okay, perfect. If it's possible, the people put the phones, because I would like to explain in Spain. Okay, thank you. Desde que pasaron los mundiales de Canadá del año 2022, hemos visto que la introducción del porteo no ha sido todo lo bien recepcionada por los países que yo creo que debería ser. Y os lo digo desde el punto de vista de piragüista. Hace 3 años que abandoné el deporte profesional, piragüista profesional, y veo que el porteo del 5000 no es un espectáculo para el espectador. Creo que deberíamos respetar la esencia del propio piragüismo, de la propia competición de pista, ya que porteos tenemos también en maratón, y en maratón entiendo que es una competición que tiene que coordinar la parte de carrera con la parte de agua, pero en pista no están preparados ni los deportistas, ni las piraguas, ni los países, que la mayor parte de las veces invierten dinero en llevar sus deportistas de pista, pero no tienen dinero suficiente para llevar a sus especialistas de maratón a competir los 5000. Con lo cual, yo pienso que se debería volver otra vez a la propia esencia de lo que es el paleo, a la propia esencia del deslizamiento, de la coordinación en el agua, de la resistencia, de la inteligencia a la hora de competir ese 5000, pero no desvirtuar un poquito la competición con esos porteos que además hemos visto que en las últimas competiciones lo que hacían era que a los 5 minutos de competición se escapase 1 o 2 deportistas y ya era muy previsible el resultado final. Con lo cual, sí me gustaría valorarlo un poquito a nivel general, hoy que estamos todos aquí, pero mantener las competiciones con porteo para el maratón y seguir manteniendo la propia esencia del 5000 y defenderlo. Si en algún momento podemos tener la posibilidad de llevarlo a los Juegos Olímpicos como 5000 en línea.
Thank you. I think that's a good remark, which we can move directly to the new elected Sprint and Marathon Committee to take it and to discuss this. Is that okay for you, Javier? Any other questions? Togo.
Oui, je vais aller en français. Merci pour l'opportunité. Je tiens d'abord à saluer le travail que fait le président de la Confédération africaine de Canoë. C'est ce travail justement qui nous a permis d'être ici pour la première fois. Je voudrais profiter aussi de cette occasion pour inviter ou bien supplier l'ICF pour établir un plan de développement stratégique sur au moins 10 ans. Ce plan va nous permettre de former et de préparer des athlètes africains, surtout sur le sol africain, pour participer aux Jeux mondiaux, aux championnats, aux mondiaux et aux Jeux olympiques. Donc, on a vraiment besoin de ce plan stratégique-là. Si vous pouvez mettre à la disposition de l'ICF des experts pour établir ce plan stratégique et ensuite partager ce plan stratégique avec les pays membres de la Confédération africaine pour qu'on puisse travailler en synergie pour mieux former nos athlètes, pour qu'on puisse mieux représenter l'Afrique dans les Jeux mondiaux. Merci.
Sia, can you reply?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. It's very much appreciated your interest in the development of our sport, not just in your country, but in the African continent. And I would like to share with you all the fact that the African Confederation was one of the continental associations who was so kind to share with us their strategic plan. And that strategic plan is being followed throughout the different steps, and that's very important because it's also aligned with the Fit for Future. So it's important to understand that we don't require the creation of other type of strategies while we have the mother strategy, which is the Fit for Future. The continents align, follow step by step, and there is a lot of attention given directly from the continent and from the ICF. We cooperate to make it a reality. We cooperate through different manners: funding, technical support through our experts, education, help in trying to get the support from Olympic Solidarity and any other means that we could reach. So once again, thank you. I hope we can fulfill the expectations, not just the ones of Togo, but the ones of the continent. We are always, as the President said, very focused in helping Africa to go to another level of canoeing once and for all. I hope I could satisfy your question. Otherwise, please let me know and I can elaborate more.
Thank you, Cecilia. Ashley, British Canoeing.
Thank you, Thomas. It's not really a question, a bit more of a comment following the presentation of the strategic plan. I think from a British point of view, we just wanted to applaud formally the vision and drive from yourself as president and Richard as general secretary and the executive board towards being brave enough to move towards a new name and a new brand and a new identity. It's something that as a country we've been through that process over the last 12 months as we look to be more inclusive, more welcoming, more appealing to a much broader paddling community. And I just wanted to add that from our perspective, the results have been really, really positive. The reaction, the feedback has been extremely encouraging. And actually, that broader, more recreational paddling market in particular has felt far, far more engaged with us as an organisation than it did before. So I just wanted to really applaud your vision, your drive, and say, from our point of view, we wish you every success over the next 2 years as you move in that direction towards a new name, new identity, and new brand. So thank you.
Thank you, Ashley, for praise of our proposals here. And thank you for highlighting this topic again, because I got yesterday from some new colleagues questions who asked and were surprised why we approved without any discussion such an important decisions. And I want to highlight again, yesterday that was the end of an almost 5 years journey. You went through much faster in England to this discussion. We need 5 years. We consulted a lot of companies, experts, had a lot of discussions in previous congresses, in boards, and that's what we presented yesterday was a result of all these sometimes exhausting discussions. And that's why we simply presented it and voted for it. So, more comments. Javier? Eckhart.
Hello everyone, Eckhart from Spain. I would like to congratulate first the ICF for organizing all the events of all disciplines. But I would also like to remark that Spain is investing in all these disciplines. We're taking teams to all the events. None of the teams, none of the athletes, coaches, staff have to pay anything to attend these competitions. But obviously this involves a huge amount of money, a huge amount of investment. And I would like to encourage all the teams to try to do the same. We've got the experience and the knowledge to how we achieve this. And if anyone would like to try to achieve the same for their team, we're open to help anyone. Thank you.
Thank you for your valuable comment. We know that not all federations can afford to send athletes to all competitions, but not all federations who can afford, unfortunately, sending to all competitions athletes. And so we really appreciate your rule and your support as Spanish Federation. And we are trying to commercialize our competitions to make it cheaper for national federations. And the first good example, I think, was the Super Cup. And we want to go, let's go together in this way. More questions? Comments? Remarks? This is the place and the time. Then we don't want to extend this question and answer session. And thanks for your valuable comments. One more. It's Russia?
Sorry,
No, Charles.
Thomas, I just wanted, we've already had an explanation from Luis as to the process of the new proposed new Olympic qualification. I just wanted to remind everybody that tomorrow at 12 noon, there will be an hour-long session which will go more into the details if people want to find out more about the details of what's proposed.
Thank you, Charles. And by the way, so far the new elected board, and I can only recommend to do this, confirm you as a member of the future sprint committee, then you will be the bridge to the LA 28 organizers. and it's really important to have someone close to the LA organizers who has really experience in our sport. So good luck for this job. Hopefully you will get him tomorrow.
Just one point on the meeting tomorrow. It's a slightly wider focus than just the Olympic qualification. It also just gives some analysis and overviews of the position of canoe sprint. So I think everyone's welcome to that meeting, but it is a wider meeting than just simply Olympic qualification.
And let me remind you on the already mentioned organizational review. We will elaborate that more comprehensive after the Congress in a letter to all national federations. But we already call here again, if you have any proposals, subjects, matters we should discuss, send it after the Congress to our ICF office in Lausanne, so that we can collect topics until February when we have our next board meeting and really discuss everything what should be tested.
Okay.
Then let's move on.
Fixing of the membership fee.
Fixing of the membership fee. Richard.
We will just simply put up on screen. There is no proposal to change the membership fee. Here are the membership fees. It's low, medium and full. We will, under the organisational review, also review the categories of these membership fees. We know that that's also due for a review, as it hasn't been reviewed for an extended period of time. But essentially, as we're going into the organisational review, we will not look to change anything to do with the current structure of the membership fees until that review has happened. So it's a status quo. We will stay the same. So we would like to kindly ask you to...
Any comments?
Any questions?
Do someone want to propose to increase the membership fee? Surprisingly, no. Okay, then let's vote about that. Richard, a vote is necessary?
Yeah, the vote's membership. Please can you vote on the proposed membership fee? Yes, no, or abstention. The vote is now open. Thank you. Should be higher, lower, higher or lower. No discounts. Okay, we can close the voting.
Vote is closed, and the result is 80 in favor. The motion passed. Thank you for that. And we are coming to the last topic on this morning's session, approval of budget.
Yeah. Okay. I think because of the decisions over the last few days, we're in an exciting position with the budget. As I mentioned in my report, it will allow us to increase by around 5 million, rounded up. Through the new budget we've put here, we tried to make sure there was very clear about what were the new elements, where are the increases. I don't think I need to go through it line by line, just to open the floor if there are any specific questions on the current budget. If not, we can go simply to a vote. Okay.
Okay, then resolution 16. Please approve the proposed budget for the next 2 years. Vote is open. 82. Could everyone vote? Are there still problems with voting? Nope. Then let's close the vote. Again, 85 votes and 81 of them in favor. The budget is approved. Thank you for your trust. And now, before I'm closing the morning session, I kindly ask that those who are candidates for positions leaving the stage in the afternoon session, waiting someone here for elections, and we kindly ask Richard and our ATIC chair Mike to conduct the elections. So, thank you, enjoy your lunch. See you again, 2 o'clock.